All right, I believe we have a quorum. We have Lena online. There she is. Hello, Lena. And Zuby and I are here. So we can't hear you, Lena. Can you? Okay. Still can't hear you. Lena, is your computer muted? Not the Zoom, but the computer itself?
Oh, such a pain, I did that.
Who's responding?
There you go.
There, all right, we gotcha.
Okay, somebody can hear me, so I don't know who it was. Okay,
Yeah, this is Eddie. I could hear you.
okay. Now everybody now can hear me?
Mm-hmm.
We can hear you. All right.
Great.
All right, thank you. All right, so we have a quorum, so I'll call this meeting to order. Welcome, everyone. Thank you very much for attending. This is another one of our governing board meetings. We're starting at 3 o'clock. We had a working session actually a week ago. We're holding this meeting early because of spring break. And we're going to work our way through the agenda and try to manage to keep it to an hour and a half. So, and there's cookies and drinks up here if anybody wants any. All right, thank you for coming. All right, moving on to the next part, adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
All right, a
Second.
second. All right, all in favor? Aye.
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 All right, the agenda is adopted. Okay, so the very next item on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda. In the consent agenda, we have the work session meeting minutes of February 14th, 2024, and we also have the governing board regular meeting minutes of February 28th, 2024. Does anyone have any questions on those?
No.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
All right,
I second.
all right, thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, consent agenda approved. We're already ahead of schedule.
That's
Like
right.
that. Okay, next section is, let's see, we didn't have any action items because on anything removed from the consent agenda. Okay, moving on to the non-consent agenda. The next, is Mr. Tellis here? Are we? You don't see him. The
He
next,
was just here. Was he? Maybe he just went to the restroom or something.
He probably saw that he didn't have to be here for 20 minutes.
yeah, that's probably it.
And he has to leave early, so we should get.
Oh, here's coming
Oh,
right
here
now.
he comes. Here he comes.
Mr. Tellis, are you ready to present?
Schedule.
Yeah, we're ahead of schedule a little. So we're to the approval of the financial report if you're ready.
Yeah, I think I.
Okay.
Oh. We voted on the minutes? Yeah, I guess.
Yes, we did. I think you said aye,
Okay.
that I recall.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't realize the minutes were on there. Okay. They were, yeah, we're good.
Okay, all right, thanks, Lena.
Okay, so we're on the,
Approval of the financial report.
okay, and Madam Chair, we had a handout, I don't know.
Yes.
We got it.
So if you want me to walk you through that handout, I believe we'll put it on the video.
So this handout is different than what, we have the financial report in our packet, but this is in addition to
Revisions.
revisions, okay?
Yeah, so it's some of those things that we talked about. And,
Yeah, why don't you hit those so we know what you've
I did.
changed?
Is this an updated financial report that I'm not seeing?
Yes, I'll email it to her right now.
Okay. And then are you gonna, Lena, it's gonna be on the screen too.
Okay, great.
And Audrey is emailing it to you.
And I barely can hear Nick's voice.
hello, can you hear me?
Much better.
Is that better? I'll speak closer to the mic here. Okay, so.
Okay.
Let me just pull up, and as you know, Madam Chair and board members and President Raleigh, we met last Wednesday to go over the financial reports in the work session. And it just so happens that the timing of that meeting and for our accounting office to be able to make sure that we close the month is kind of pushing up against one another. And so I had to make some revisions to this,
Okay.
to the report. And so that's why I'm unfortunately handing it out to you today. We're trying to work on that system, making sure that they can do their processing, and then I have time to run the report and then have time to get it to Audrey. We always have to get it to Audrey about at least 5 days in advance so that she can do her thing with noticing things and all of that. So I'm just trying to pull up the report from the work session so that I can talk about some of the changes. And I'm just going to refer
Couple more
to,
million in our operating budget.
Yep. That's good.
I'm just going to refer to the detailed report in particular. And if we could start with the cash and bank, and that's on page 2 in your handout. Just as an overview, the changes that I've made from our work session to now, basically in the work session, we had reported about 47.9 million in our operating account, and as of this report, the more current report, we have 51 million in the operating account. That's pretty flat from the prior year in cash. The reserve account of 304,000, that stays the same. NMFA bond proceeds, it changed just slightly by a very small amount. The debt service account, when we met, we had reported 825,000, but that's been revised to 1.4 million in your report. And so that amount of funding, it's really $1,445,003, and that is the cash that we have in place as a restricted resource to pay off outstanding bonds and debt. And so turning to page 3 off of the ING report. Tuition and fees, when we met, we had reported that tuition fees were up 6%. That's been revised to 8%. So currently, we have $5,724,830 in tuition and fee revenue. There's a revision to state appropriations. That number is $10,665,872 currently. And when we met, that number was sitting at 8.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite a bit of a change there. So year over year, currently, with our revision, state appropriations up 18%. Local appropriation was revised as well, up 5%. And in the more current revision, we have $16,782,258 in local mill levy revenue that has been recorded through February. And then our other sources of revenue is revised to 1.4 million. The number's actually $1,413,597, and about $360,000 of that is the interest earnings on the bank balance, and then we also have that at the time of this report, $750,000 from that legal revenue that we had received. And so we'll be moving that $750,000 to the public service fund, and that'll probably be done in our budget adjustment once we bring that to you for your review.
Okay.
So with that, and then there was in the work session just a few more things. For public service, have several revisions here. Just to provide you the most current numbers for conference center, we had revenue of $257,797, and really $71 in expenditures. We don't spend a lot of money out of that line item. For Kids Campus, I think that we had discussed last week about $933,000 in revenue. That's been revised upward to $1,027,468. So that looks really good. And then on the expense side, they have $719,551 in expenditures through February. So their revenue at Kids Campus is looking really good and strong. And then we have for our firstborn program revenue revised up to $334,850 and expenditures there of $70,453. For auxiliary, we talked a little bit about this. And again, we are still kind of in the throes of really refining the systems for bookstore and food service. And so there's some updates that need to take place. For bookstore, what we reported in the work session has not changed. But it's important to know for the bookstore, we have revenue of $152,135 and expenditures of $125,344. The expenditures looked a little bit unusual to me, and so I've looked into those expenditures, and they're really transactions that have been made for students that should have actually gone to student financial aid to be covered by the student's financial aid, and so that's going to be an accounting adjustment that we'll need to make there.
Okay.
And so we shouldn't have really any expenditures in the bookstore. Food service, there's $60,838 in revenue, but that does not include booking that needs to be done for catering services and some other revenue generating sources that they have. So that'll get more accurate towards the end. Thank you for bearing with us, because with the changes in Workday and bringing on these two new vendors, it's been a work in progress in many ways. So with that, I did revise the ending numbers and corrected that formula. And so with the auxiliary through February, there is a deficit there of $234,691. However, we have to take off the expenditures of $125,000, move those to student financial aid, and then we'll have to update the revenue that we've received through the year for the food service program.
Okay. So work in progress.
It really is, yes. And then on the plant fund, we didn't have any revisions there.
All right. Thank you, Nick, for going through that. Any questions?
I had two questions. One, just out of curiosity, in our food service, how much of that is for the master's program? How much of the expenditure and what kind of revenues? Is that something that they pay us on a regular basis or all at once in the beginning?
We're trying to that's one of the other things. So it's the master's program, and it's also the catering, are two large pieces that we need to integrate into the system. And it's interesting because the contract between Genuine Foods and SFCC is between us, and the agreement between the master's program is between them and the college. And so we've been trying to work out that billing process, and it hasn't been incorporated into this, so it is, I would say that there's probably about approximately $150,000 from them over the year. I think that that's about how much that they, how much revenue is generated from that agreement.
Other question is, so in the conference center, has no balance forward. Do they not have any money if they need to make any expenditures to put on on a conference event? Do they have some other source of money that they go to, or does that not having any cash in their account, does that slow up any processes when you're trying to?
I don't think so. A large portion of that revenue does come from the lease with the master's program.
Okay.
So it goes there, and then, yeah, we just haven't had any really planned expenditures in that category. So what ends up happening is that will go back to the general fund at the end of the year. So it goes back to ING at the end of the year.
All right. Thank you.
Lena, do you have any questions? Hello?
Yes,
Oh.
yes, I just needed to unmute myself.
Okay, okay.
Which between the financial report screen and the screen. Okay. Yes, I do have a couple of questions, kind of similar to Mitsubi. On the public service table, I mean, my understanding from the training is that public service are programs that's supposed to support themselves, or we could support them if needed with extra funding. So why do we transfer money out? Why don't we keep the money there? Since these are programs, and I'm assuming the KSFR program will go under here too, right?
I think President Rowley might have a comment on that, that there's a distinct purpose for the public service fund, and
Right, Madam Chair, Member Gurman, if I can, the exhibits the things that go under the public service exhibit are pretty well defined by the higher education department, and so those are specific programs that they do not have to break even. The issue that is different than an auxiliary service. An auxiliary service generally that the things that we can do like that are bookstore and food services, and those we are not supposed to run a deficit in. So we may run a deficit at different times of the year, as Nick said, if we're catching up on billing and doing things like that, but we can't set the operation up to where it's not at least breaking even. And so,
I understand. My question is then why are we transferring money out of the public service, like for the conference center and the kids campus?
And Madam Chair, that's just for the purposes of this report. We have not transferred anything. Ultimately, those funds are actually sitting in the plant fund. It would be a closing transaction at the end of the year if we still have these balances there. But if you read the column titled balance carry forward, so with kids campus, with kids campus, that 322,717 would actually remain as a balance that's carried forward in the public service fund. We would not transfer that.
You look like you transferred 14,800, and you transferred and you zeroed out the conference center. No?
Yeah, so the 14,000, I think that's a transfer in to public service.
Oh, in.
Yeah. So that's where all of these kind of higher ed fund accounting things get complicated. Because
I'll do my math again. Okay, my next question at the last, at the auxiliary, I mean, what's the story with food services? Why is it running at such a deficit? And you said that there will be some catering revenue coming in. I'm not even aware that we are offering catering services. Are we?
Oh, yes.
On campus, yes.
Yes. In the past, our experience was most of the revenue generated in food service was through our catering services. And we have a lot of events on campus. I think Conference Center is in Todd Lovato's area. And he, they work very closely with the food service operation. And so we just need to get that accounting set up properly so that we're able to book it in here, and that's why you're not seeing it. But catering is a very important and critical part of being able to financially be solvent within the food service area. Does that help?
Yeah, just gonna keep
Just-
an eye on that one. That's all.
Just for the, for the information of the body, it's important to know that when we actually entered into the contract with Genuine Foods, it was quite a bit into the fiscal year. It takes a lot, it takes some time to get everything stood up and actually get the systems in place for providing those services. So this year we've been a bit behind. So the financial information this year is going to be a little bit off when compared to a full actual year's experience of revenue and expenses. So.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions? All right, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I move.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, it's moved to approve the financial report. Thank you, Mr. Tellis. Do you want to move on? And I believe you're the one going to talk to us about the approval of notice of sale and resolution relating to the proposed issuance of the GO bonds.
Yes, Madam Chair. This is also a very important measure that you're considering. This is related to the bonds that were approved by the voters last November. And so let me pull up what I have. Really, what this does is it gives the board approval for signatory authority for the president and myself as CFO. And I believe the secretary's in there, kind of establishing those roles as the folks that would sign off on official paperwork. And as you can tell in your packets, the actual notice of sale document's very tedious and technical. Talks about the background of SFCC, the history, some enrollment information, what's happening with our students, all the information that investors need to know in terms of making a decision on buying a bond from, it's really a municipal bond from Santa Fe Community College that will be available on the open market. And I think I have Eric here. Is Eric Harrigan here?
I am.
Yeah, Eric, can you also chime in and kind of comment on the purpose of this, as well as the process of how the bonds will be issued if the board approves this item? Or sold?
Sure, happy to. Good afternoon, Regents. Eric Harrigan with RBC Capital Markets. Eddie Duffy, who is with the Sutton firm, I believe he's also on. And so the notice of sale basically, authorizes the college to, notice the sale of bonds coming up, allow for the publication of a preliminary official statement, and effectively authorizes the sale at a public competitive sale. And that sale is expected to occur on April 17th. What a public competitive sale is that the college basically provides notices to investment banking firms around the country to bid on the bonds on July 17th. Bidding is opened in the morning, and firms from across the country get to place their bids.
You said April.
And whoever,
You meant April?
April 14th. And then the lowest bidder is awarded the bonds. And so it's a very open, process. We anticipate, strong interest in the college's bonds. You have a strong AA2 bond rating. You don't anticipate that to change. Given the Santa Fe Community College name and the rating, like I mentioned, we do expect, to have a number of investors or purchasers interested in buying the bonds.
A quick question. You said April 14th. That's Sunday. Do you open sale on a Sunday?
Yeah, I misspoke. Apologies. It's April 17th.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Is there a minimum qualification for people who want to buy our bonds? Is there any bare boundaries around who can bid on the bond?
So there's really no, there's no, I guess, sort of exclusion to who can bid on the bonds. I mean, it's an all or nothing type of a bid. So you're going to have investment banking firms ranging from, probably JP Morgan to, RW Baird and Stifel that will be bidding on this. They have to, if they bid on these bonds, they have to buy all 13 million of these bonds. And then they will have, investors that they ultimately sell those bonds to. Because we don't know who the ultimate purchaser of these bonds are. If there is somebody, locally that wants to, buy these bonds, most likely the way that they'll be able to do that is that once the bonds close, which are scheduled to be on May 9th, I would suspect that there will be some of these bonds that will be in the secondary market, which, an individual can go and purchase through a broker dealer of some sort.
All right. Any questions, Lena? Do you have any questions?
And Madam Chair, I just wanted to, we also have Eddie Duffy with the Sutton
Oh,
Third.
okay.
He's
Go
our,
ahead.
our bond attorney. And so I just wanted to ask you, am I correct by saying that the notice of sale, it does authorize a signatory approval for signing off on and entering into the transactions and things like that?
Yeah, that is correct, Nick. And just at a high level, what this does is it authorizes the sale at the competitive bid. It sets the maximum amount of the bonds and some parameters that will be required for any bidders, like the maximum amount of interest, the form of bond, some of the terms, allows for redemption. So it does set some general parameters. Then it does delegate the authority to the chair, vice chair, president, VP of finance, and which will be the authorized officers who will review and can sign off on the application. And finally, it approves of the form of the POS, which is the preliminary official statement, which is the document that would be used to market the bonds. And what that does, it provides an overview of the offering terms, the use of proceeds, the district, the tax histories, the college, its enrollment numbers, and the county as well. So some very general background information on the issuer and the terms of the offering itself. There is a form provided, but that the resolution also authorizes the delegated officers to work with bond counsel and the advisors to finalize that form. And so that is a form that will be provided, but we will certainly sort of update and finalize that in connection with the proposed sale. But at a high level, you're correct, Nick. It does delegate the authority to the officers to determine the final terms and also approves the general parameters of the issuance.
All right.
One more question. I'm curious, is the timing, is the timing of when we're going to purchase on the 17th, is there any advantage to that in terms of the likely bids that we might come in? And would any economic activity, say the government for some reason shut down, would that impact the appetite for buying our bonds on the 17th?
So that's an excellent question. So when the college goes out to for bids on the 17th, should the week before, if there is significant market disruption and it looks like we would not receive very many bids or any bids at all, or that we might see bids that come in well above what we anticipate the interest rate to be, and just for everyone's benefit, we anticipate the interest rate to be around 3.25%, 3.25%, given this market. Then we would repost the notice of sale and then sell the bonds at a later time. At this point in time, there's no anticipation of that. The Federal Reserve met today. The Chairman Powell, basically said that, the Federal Reserve is still looking at potentially cutting rates 3 times this year. U.S. Treasury market, responded, somewhat favorably. The 10-year Treasury was down about 2 basis points today. And it was kind of in line with what, they anticipated the Federal Reserve to do. However, before the sale, we will get, additional, CPI and PPI, economic releases for them. If inflation comes back and it's showing that it's either ticking higher or staying stubbornly high, we might be looking at an interest rate higher than what I just talked about. I would anticipate that interest rates would move higher, due to that, and the concern that the Federal Reserve will continue to keep rates higher for longer. Conversely, if those economic, numbers come in better than expected, if when core inflation starts, trending closer to the Federal Reserve's, target of 2%, we might see, a drop in interest rates. But at this point in time, I don't see any reason to move that April 17th sale date.
Quick question, is that something you coordinate with Mr. Tellis then, if that happens?
That is
Okay, so we could expect that, okay, thank you.
And then, on top of all of that, the Madam Chair, board members, President Rowley, the college's credit rating is really important in determining interest rates as well, outside of the external forces. And we just met with Moody's yesterday to have them update or look at a revision of our Moody's credit rating. And so things look pretty positive from that standpoint.
All right, thanks. Any more questions, these gentlemen?
No?
Was that Lena?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm fine.
all right. All right, thank you. All right, do I have a motion to approve?
I move?
Second?
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you, Mr. Tellis, and thank you, gentlemen, for explaining to us. And
And let me just say thanks to Bob Downey, who invented municipal bonds when New York City went bankrupt.
there you go.
And thanks to all of the taxpayers in the county. I mean,
Yeah, for giving us this bond.
this is the support that they give to us on being able to help students in their path forward to getting educated and improving the community.
Yes. All right, thank you. All right, the last thing, actually, Mr. Tellis, this might be you too, the approval of the disposal list for 2024. Which should go fast, right?
Let's hope. Yes, so we talked about, Madam Chair and Member Wilson and President Rowley, we discussed this, and Member Gurman online. We discussed this
Yes.
in the work session, and we we went through the list, and most of these items are IT equipment. There's, our IT experts have determined there's really no useful life in any of those items. And then we had some items from the fitness center, and actually went and looked at those on my own, and I saw that those things are, they really need to be disposed of. They're falling apart and could be very hazardous to folks.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Tellis on the disposal list? Hearing none?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. I mean, I see like most of the items already have a zero net value, book value, but we did ask you whether they had any useful life, and you said no. The only item that looked like they still have some net value, some significant net value, around a little bit over $3,000, is like a lab Conoco freeze-dry system. I mean, those look like they still have some life in them. So why are we getting rid of them? Look like there's still 60 months of useful life remaining
freeze
and
dryer.
72
I mean, I know
months.
I know that I talked to some people around campus that I thought might have use for it, and they did not. So whoever had it no longer wanted it, and I believe it goes to Bentley's auction then, correct? So we may reclaim some value from it through Bentley's.
Correct.
Okay, so they still have useful life, but no one wanted to use them anymore on campus. Okay, got it. All right. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? If not, can I have a motion to approve the disposal list for 2024?
It's yours, Zuby.
All right, I will move. And I'll just make a comment. Usually I have a problem with this list as a general rule, but I did feel as though the comments from the deans indicated that there was knowledge of the things being disposed of, and that there was effort to make sure that if anyone needed it, they would be passed on to other departments. And that makes me feel comfortable that we're disposing of the things in an appropriate way this year.
All right.
So I move
that
that we
because-
approve.
And because of the anti-donation clause, this is not something that we can just give away to people. It has to be put in a sale or auction to other state agencies or
I believe
other local bodies.
I
So,
believe we can transfer it to other educational institutions in New Mexico if we
Yes.
found one. But other than that, we can send it to Bentley's. And by the way, if anybody sees something on there they really want, they can go bid on it in Bentley's.
okay, so this is the, Ms. Tells, this is the process that this is all going to an auction, not given donated to other agencies?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay.
All right. So
Well, will we get some kind of announcement for the auction?
do you want
I
an
don't-
announcement for the
I don't know,
auction?
I mean,
Where does the announcement go? Let me rephrase
It's
my
an
question.
online
let me
auction.
think about that, but yeah, we'll try our best effort to kind of,
I don't know, I'm just
Todd,
wondering.
if you want another announcement to post.
But I probably should not bid on that auction if I am making a motion to get rid of the stuff. That's probably a conflict of interest.
Yes, that's probably a wise idea.
Okay.
All
I
right.
don't need any more.
We have a motion on the floor to approve it.
I second.
All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion carries. Thank you,
Thank you
Mr.
very
Tellis.
We just like to keep it exciting.
Yeah. All right, the next item is an informational item. I believe it's you, Yash, on the SFCC postgraduate survey results. And thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, President Rowley, it's a pleasure to be here today with my colleague Nancy Ubaye. Nancy, would you like to go ahead and present this information? This is really her work and her supervisor's work, Barb Grego's work on this, so I'm just here for moral support.
All right.
Well, you have it there.
Hello.
Are you showing it or?
Yes.
is I
Yeah,
showing?
it's showing on the screen right now, Nancy.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay. So what we have here is the results of the post-graduation survey that was conducted in last December. We reached students that graduated from fall 2018 to spring 2023. We reached almost 3,000 graduates, and we have a response of almost 17%. And some of the responses that we have here, we asked them what was the activity after graduating. And as you can see, let me make this bigger, like 49%, because you're showing that. Wait a minute, please. Let's see that one. Okay, 49% say they are working for an employee, and 27% are transferred to a four-year institution. 9% are taking some additional courses, 9 other activities, 4% started their own businesses, and only 3% became unemployed for different reasons. Okay, so we asked the question, this survey asked 6 basic questions, and then we have an extended survey related to the job position that they have. Okay, so what is the impact of the SFCC education? For most of the students, 62% said that improved the personal and professional skills. Then when we asked them about how the education prepared them for when they transfer to a four-year institutions, 93% of those 116 students that transferred or answered said that they were very well prepared. Of the 331 that are working and decided to give us the answer, they say that 91% said that they were very well prepared for their job. Also, of these 331, 36% consider that the education at SFCC helped them get a new job or a better job, and 32% got a salary increase. It could be in the same job or in the new job. And for 69% of these persons, their major of studies is very related to the primary work. Next one, please. Then we also asked them where is the company that they are working and the zip code. So based on the 160 responses, we have here the distribution of the students working. So most of them are in the Santa Fe area. Then Albuquerque is in New Mexico. We have in all the different places in New Mexico, and 8 are working out of the state. Next one. So based on the 162 responses of the company type that we received, we group them by industry. The top 5 industries where the graduates are working are the health and emergency services, education, state and local government, and children and family and counseling, hospitality and services. Others are technology, media, energy, design, financial services, etc. And here you can see the comparison of the main jobs, the distribution in the Santa Fe area. So like you can see, like almost 23% are working in the government, and we are there. 17% work in education and health services, so we have a majority are in health and education. Then we have transportation, leisure and hospitality. We also have people there. Professional businesses, then we can have maybe some of the children or in education working in these areas, or the other companies that they decided to respond. And the next one. So when we asked them about their job, their position, company, we asked them if they had a job before or during their studies at SFCC. 2,070 say they had, and 256 gave us their salary. 162 said they have a job after graduation, and 146 provide the salary. And we are here comparing the salaries the before and after. We classified it by less than 30K because that's the low income, 30 to 41K because that's in the per capita, 45 to 67 because 67 is considered the median. So as you can see, before or during studies, the lower salary was very high. After studies, the higher salaries are increasing. So we have like in the medium or the higher, we have 43%, and more than the median salary per capita, we have like 23%. So which is very good, that the salaries are increasing after the studies at college. And then we were able to compare the responses of 104 graduates because they provide the salary before and after SFCC. So as we can see, we also group them by the percentage of increase in their salary. And as you can see, we have like 21% got an increase 100%. 13 got from 50 to 76% increase, 20 from 26 to 55%. So a total of 75 of these 104 had an increase in their earnings. Some of them, they have a decrease in salary because again, they change job, they have to stop working, they change companies, or are working less than 40 hours. So overall, before they were making a total of like almost 4 million, and after that, more than 5.5 million, so it was an increase of 44%. And then we have the last one. What we consider are going to be the next steps is that to continue conducting this post-graduation survey every December. I think this survey was the first like in 12 or 15 years. Then to do the survey according to the student type so that we can identify the needs, if they were degree seeking, certification or training, just for enrichment, new college student or additional degree. Also, we want to target and connect with the students that are of color, belong to minorities or low-income students to better identify their needs, challenge, and positive factors in their education, and be able to expand the survey to get information for individual program, department, or pathways. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Questions?
A couple of
Yes.
questions. So in the response, we had, what was the response rate? Do we have a breakdown on demographics of what students responded and who did not?
No, we don't have the demographic information because we just asked six basic questions about their activities. And actually, I forgot one way to incentive the responses. We provide some gift cards that were donated by the foundation. But no, we don't have the demographic information. And the response rate was 17%. So we got almost 500 responses.
And who was the group? Was it people who graduated over how many years?
Almost 5.5 years,
Okay.
from fall 2018 to spring 2023. So it was a total of 2,900 graduates that we send the invitation by email or text messages.
I have
Okay.
some questions.
All right.
Yes.
You were saying that there were only 6 questions and you were able to extract all this data from 6 questions. Sometimes it's easier for me to understand the data provided from surveys if I could see the original survey.
Yes. Yeah, we can provide you the questions. The six basic questions were like, what do they do? If they were studying, for example, if they say, I continue studying, then we added a follow-up question. Did you went to a 4-year institution or it was just this for certification or training, okay? So at the end, they were invited with an incentive to win a $100 gift card to answer 6 extra questions related to the work. That's how we could get more information.
Okay. And those 3,000 students, they were all full-time students?
I cannot tell you, I don't know.
Most likely,
Okay.
It was just students that graduated.
Okay. But I mean, having demographic question in there would have also been very helpful.
Sure.
Yes,
Board Member Gurman?
pretty sure. But since this was the first survey that we were doing, we wanted to make it very simple and short so that they could answer and just give us the information that we were wanted to know if they were happy and if the education was beneficial for them, for their transfer and the job.
If somebody else can make a comment?
No, Nancy answered the questions, I think, pretty well. This is one of the first surveys the college has ever done on this particular item, so they're focusing on brevity to make sure they have some baseline before they've gone in and expand on it. One of the other things I want to just compliment Nancy and Barb's work is they're doing this as part of the Harvard Data Science Fellowship Program. So she's getting some expertise and advice from the Harvard data folks to sort of create this survey. One thing that Nancy and Barb has come to us is the ability to sort of upgrade our survey tool so that we can now better align students' demographic information to survey response through texting. And that's another thing to keep in mind is that many of our students these days are responding through texting, and so we need to sort of upgrade our technology so that we have a better way of linking student response so that we could better serve and understand students' needs.
Yes,
And this is anonymous, right?
yes, this is anonymous, and also I want to add that's part of the next steps that we are considering, so that how can we survey to identify those areas that we need to get information like the demographics or the type of students.
Yeah, some surveys we want to do anonymously, other cases we don't. So it's case-by-case basis to minimize the time people take to take the survey.
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to make it too long, and you want to have incentive, and you have to ask. Yeah, I like the idea of using phones and texting. It's kind of like my doctor says, oh, you could do the check-in on your phone before you, so you don't have to come in half an hour early. It turned out it was half an hour of questions on the phone, but once you're in it, you're in it. You have to finish. I like the survey and I like all the questions and all the data. I'm just concerned about the response rate. I mean, 435 responses out of 3,000, that's about 15%. But then as we go further down, work location, 160 responses, now we're down to 5%. And then the one with salary, comparing salary, we're only talking about 3.5%. So I don't know, that's statistically significant. So we just need to work more on finding some incentives or some tools that the students will use in order to respond to the survey.
Board Member Gurman, I really appreciate that feedback. We definitely recognize that this is not necessarily a scientifically representative survey. That's not the intention of this particular survey. It's so we actually have a better sense of what's happening. It doesn't always have to be exactly a high number or percentage to sort of get a sense of what students are saying. This is not, by all means, we're saying that it's a representative survey, but it does give us some insight that we've never had before. And it's only going to get better and better as we keep doing this survey and try to get additional data. But we'll definitely keep in mind about ways of increasing response rates. That's always something we're very interested in.
I'm wondering, if it is something where you kind of It's like, hey, you're gonna walk on May 11 and get your degree. By the way, can you please fill the survey for you?
We do a graduation survey, but this is a post-graduation survey, right? Because the graduation survey, we've been doing it annually, and we will provide the data to you guys as soon as we get it. But one of the challenges for our institution, right, is that there's about 3 other scientific community colleges nationally. And so whenever we try to find out the post-graduation income level using some national data, it always gets mixed up with the Santa Fe Community College in Florida and some other Santa Fe Community College somewhere up in north. And so we have really never been able to collect any income data until now, really. And so what Nancy and Barb was able to do here is pretty groundbreaking for our institution because we've never been able to get this kind of data before.
Cool. Well, one last question. On that page, I don't know what page number is it? The one that shows the salary comparison before and after, it's really good news that their salary definitely increases after. But maybe I'm reading this wrong, but does it show that 270 people had jobs before coming to SFCC, and that number dropped to 162? So
It's
after
not that the number
graduation-
dropped, but it's more of the who were able to actually give us that information, right?
Yes.
So the 270 is not the same people as the 162?
162 is a subset of the 200 people. So some people told us that they have a job, but they weren't to tell us what their current job status is, and that's the reason the number looks lower. It's not necessarily that we have less people. If you want to look at the people who actually were unemployed, that was about 3%. And so all in all, people are either continuing their education or getting a job.
Okay, so maybe this question needs to be asked in a little bit different way, or maybe that's how Harvard won it, but it just sounds like we have less people with jobs after they go through SFCC. That's what's kind of...
Oh, no, it was the number of persons that responded, and they gave us, that they said, oh, yes, I have a job, and they didn't provide the salary for that job, okay? Or they didn't provide the name of the company. That's one. So that's what I said, what you were saying, is the percentage of the responses that we could get.
Yeah, from an ethical perspective, whenever we design surveys, we have a lot of these questions to be optional and not required, so that people don't have to
Right.
answer questions that they don't want to answer. And that, in turn, increases the likelihood that they might answer some other question rather than just that being the cutoff point where they don't complete the rest of the survey. And so that's the reason. But we definitely could do a better job of indicating what do we mean by 200 versus 160 so that people have a better sense of what we're trying to communicate. So thank you for that feedback.
Yeah, that's why also it would help me to see the original survey and how the questions are being asked, so I know that, okay, this is not what this means. All right.
We appreciate that, Board Member Gurman. One of the reasons why we kept the slides shorter is to honor our time commitment to the board meetings. But we're happy to provide more further details for the board members who are interested in looking at that a little bit closer.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions?
I was just going to point out Santa Fe Community College in Florida is now Santa Fe
Yes,
College, which
they
is why
are.
we got their web address.
Yep, we still get their postgraduates still because some of the surveys, some of the softwares out there tracks people's resumes that they post on LinkedIn, for example, and they don't update the Santa Fe Community College to Santa Fe College, and so they're still included in there. And yes, they have changed their name from Santa Fe Community College to Santa Fe College, although we still get some of our students still, and some of our students actually go to there as well.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. I think this is great information, especially to start building on.
Yeah, no, all the credit goes to Nancy and Barb for the hard work, and of course the foundation for offering us the gift card. So thank you for everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Question, is Nancy the same Nancy who used to teach Spanish at SFCC?
Yes.
I am, Lina. I am.
Ah, I took classes with you.
Thank you. Yes, I will be there.
Okay, good, good to see you again.
Good to see you too. Bye.
Bye.
All right, thank you, Nancy. Okay, moving on, let's see. Oh, wait, I have the old one, the new one, sorry. Okay, there's no readings of SFCC policies, so the next thing is communications, so the Faculty Senate report. Dr. Valdez.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are you? Good to see you all. Let me pull up my report here. Can you all hear me okay?
Yep, loud and clear.
Good, good. So good afternoon, Chair Pugh, Dr. Rowley, members of the board, and colleagues. My name is Jared Valdez, Chair of the Faculty Senate. I'll share my report and welcome any questions. First, I'd like to congratulate our new adjunct representative, Dr. Karen Hall. Her background is in music studies. We appreciate her dedication to the faculty and welcome her on board. On that note, we will be holding elections for the Faculty Senate Chair and Communications Officer in April. My 2 terms are up. I just want to mention over the past few years as chair, it has been my honor to work with all of you, and thank you for always lending me your ears and your support. I hope you'll have an equally successful relationship with the next chair of the Senate, who will be joining you in April, and I'm sure you will. So thank you all. I appreciate that. In other news, at our last Senate meeting, we hosted Dr. Lopez, who introduced himself and told us about some initiatives he's been working on. We hope to continue these discussions with Dr. Lopez and look forward to his contributions to the college. We are going to welcome him back, hopefully, next semester. On another note, we have been in contact with many members of the staff, administration, and faculty on how we can help and support student, faculty, and staff parents. Along with many initiatives and opportunities, we look forward to the progress that is to come. In other news, we're looking to raise awareness of online scams for students at the college. This seems to be an ever-growing threat and something that's spreading around. So those trainings we get are really helpful for us, but the students aren't as aware as the online threats we get through our emails and all this stuff. So have heard some horror stories about it. Finally, our adjunct representatives, Rachel Mangini and Dennis Romero, conducted a survey that gave us much more insight into how we as a Senate can help and be more inclusive of the adjunct body on campus. We thank them for their efforts. Our next faculty meeting is tomorrow at 10 a.m. Thank you for your time. I'll take any questions, and also happy spring break. I hope you all have a great one.
Thank you. Any questions? Zuby, Member Zuby, or Member Wilson, sorry.
I'm used to it. So Jared, a lot of the minutes that we're reading here were related to questions you were going to ask with a meeting with Dr. Rowley. Did that meeting already happen, and how did it go?
Yes, the meeting did happen. I think it went really well with Dr. Rowley. It was extremely productive. We were able to talk about everything from our faculty schedules and hybrid classes to getting better pay from the legislator and you know, concerns. Once again, I can't voice enough how much I appreciate Dr. Rowley's support and supporting the faculty every time, you know, we have a complaint or concern or whatever. She's never has a retaliation or something bad to say. It's always very supportive and, you know, productive. So.
All right. Any other questions, Member Wilson? Oh, okay, Member Gurman.
Hi, Jared. So
Hi.
I was reading the report, and I have a couple questions. So I read about the concerns of children on campus and needing a policy to clarify exactly where in the classroom, and also related to employees, children, and employees who are students sometimes when they're on campus.
Right.
So is there a policy that's being worked on in that for about?
Yeah, thank you for that question, Member Gurman. Yeah, there is. So we're working with Tomasina. Tomasina came and visited us, and they went over the current policy for student parents. And then we're going to collaborate and hopefully make a little panel or something to help work on the new policy, which is going to be faculty and staff parents. So Right now, it's not completed. We haven't necessarily met yet, but we have already been in talks. And we're certainly looking forward to collaboration with that because, as you know, it can be difficult and there should be, it shouldn't be get your kids here, why are they at the school? But it also shouldn't be always here, so it'd be great to work with them. And we've also been working with Kids Campus. I met with Rachel Kuchner the other day, and we had a wonderful talk, about everything that is available, hopefully trying to get more staff and faculty, parents involved with getting their kids in Kids Campus. And, also, as Dr. Rowley was telling us as well in our meeting, there's a lot of other funding, external funding that we can offer to our faculty, parents and staff parents that is through the state that none of us are aware of, right? So it's good to raise awareness with these things. And, as you all know, with the last with the last board meeting, there's issues with pay and stuff. So these things matter, right? I mean, they allow us to more freedom to focus on our jobs. And, yeah, so.
Definitely, okay. So I guess we'll be seeing a draft of a policy at some point.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The other thing is I was reading about the high flex classes.
Yeah.
And how there might not be students in the class at all, but the faculty comes in. Have that been resolved? Have you guys reached a conclusion on this? Is that ultimately a policy?
Yes, for sure. And perhaps there might need to be a policy. Again, I'm not too versed in the administration realm of that, but I think we came to a pretty good conclusion, right, Dr. Rowley? I mean, as long as there's communication between the students and if there was a need, certainly hold the class, but I know there's some faculty that go 16 weeks alone, and they have a night class and it's a little dangerous and nobody's on campus and nobody ever shows up, and they express to them they're not going to show up. But we still have this, is there a policy? Is there not a policy? So I think we came to a pretty good terms there. However, I don't want to sort of speak out of turn to say that there's anything set in stone. But
maybe this is something we'll learn about soon.
That's a bargaining issue.
yeah, for sure. Thanks for bringing that up, though. Yeah.
Miss.
All right, any other questions, Member Gurman?
No.
All right. Oh,
I'm just wondering at some point, maybe we should have a conversation about high flex. I'm a student in a high flex class right now, and it's very interesting. And I'm not sure how the policy works right now, but the faculty believes that they can teach from home and the students could be in the classroom potentially.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely more discussion on it then.
For sure. And again, we would love to be involved as a faculty too. If you wanted to, send us an email, pick our brains, or have us show up to a meeting or something, we'd be happy to do that. So.
All right. Thank you. All right.
Chair View.
Thank you very much.
Spring break.
Yeah, happy spring break. All right, moving on to the Staff Senate report. Mr. Gutierrez and Ms. Renteria.
Good afternoon.
Yep, no, I don't think it's on.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing Robert and I to be here on behalf of Staff Senate. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board, President Rowley. The Staff Senate has met twice since the last time we updated you. I believe the minutes for February 16th are a part of your package. One of the biggest highlights to date is that we are fully staffed. We have now a new Staff Senate Communications Officer. That person is the Program Administrator for Allied Health, Jackie Anderson, and she has agreed to serve the remainder of our last Communication Officer's term, through June 2024. So we now have all of our officers, and in terms of a highlight for Friday, February 16th meeting, Dr. Lopez also attended our meeting, introducing himself to us and inviting us to come by his office, which I tested that out. And yes, sure enough, he was very kind and let me in, and I was able to interrupt him. So I appreciate that. This past Friday on March 15th, we met, and we had a really great meeting in that a lot of our staff members gave us all the great dates of events that are going on campus. I believe we had like 10 events that they offered to share with the whole group so that we can all participate. Two being today, there was a career and transfer fair on campus today. There was also a wonderful presentation by Michael Ziller, who was in the planetarium talking about the solar eclipse. Just amazing things going on here, so it's so wonderful. So if you can look at the minutes, which will provide you for March 15th in your next packet, there's just some great things going on. There's a LinkedIn luncheon on April 10th and 11th. The automotive department is going to have a car wash and a car show. The car wash is on April 12th. The car show is on April 26th. Diversity Days on April 17th. And the Controlled Environment Agricultural, the CEA, will hold an open house on April 20th. So lots of great things going on. And again, I end up just taking the minutes and then just putting all that stuff on my calendar. Let's see if there's anything else that we wanted to highlight. Oh yes, we did meet with Faculty Senate to set a joint agenda for our joint meeting, which is scheduled for April 17th. And Staff Senate will be hosting that meeting. That's our usual Friday Staff Senate meeting on April 17th.
It's Diversity Day.
When is Diversity Day?
That's April 17th.
17.
Yeah, yes. Oh, it's on the same day as Diversity Day. It's okay. That's okay. And you know why? Because we meet at 10. So we'll be done. We'll be done before Diversity Day, or their presentation, which their presentation is actually 11 to 2. Okay. So thank you for mentioning that, Member Gurman. I don't think yes, I corrected myself. All right, so anything else, Robert?
All right.
What are the
thank
highlights?
you. Any questions? Member
I just
Gurman?
have a comment.
Okay.
I just have a comment. How'd you guess? I just have a comment that the sentence before, towards the end of the report, where you say, and I'm sorry, I'm not gonna say the name right. Nagashima will be leading a demonstration soon. My heart stopped because I thought that meant some kind of demonstration, some kind of rally, not a demo. So I was like, wait a minute, what? Where's gonna be a rally? That's not it, right?
Oh. Okay, now actually is going to be, he's going to go on Workday and show us how the performance evaluation is going to be conducted. So sorry about that. We can clear that up. I also saw that there was a typo even with Dr. Lopez's
Somehow
title.
the word demonstration took me in a different direction. It's going to be a demonstration.
Sorry
on
about that.
campus. Oh, no.
Thank you, though. Thank you. We'll clear that up.
Okay.
All right. Any questions, Member Wilson? Yeah, I just want to second, I love your minutes. I do the same thing. I get my calendar out and I start writing things in that you guys have mentioned. So you keep people very aware of what's going on at the college. And I, for one, appreciate it. I'm sure others do.
I will comment too. The reports from your people on the committee, I find it interesting. Often the same committee, there's a report to the staff senate and no report to the faculty senate, assuming everyone's going to the same meetings. But I commend you, because you're doing a good job of getting your people to take their responsibility and report back from their committees.
And we also invite them, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
matter of just inviting.
And you share, I mean, so you, just in multiple ways, share a lot of information in a short report, which is great. So, thank you.
Have a great. Thank you.
I like the faculty senate report being long too.
No, Madam Chair, board members, President Raleigh, I just want to say that it just goes to show what a strong staff we have here at the Santa Fe Community College, you know, that they want to get involved. Our numbers are really good. We had close to 60 individuals last Friday that are attending Staff Senate, and it continues to grow. And it just shows that people want to be involved. And it, you know, a lot of people say it's about us, but it's about everyone involved that wants to, you know, make the college a better place and understanding our mission. So we're just, you know, we get excited to be part of that group. So we thank you for the comments. Well, we'll take that back. Yes.
It shows in your report, so thank you. Thank you very much. All right, okay. So student government is not represented today. So moving on to the next section, President's report and presentations. President Rowley,
Thank you.
over to you.
Chair Pugh, and I do have, I don't know that it's in your packet, but I do have the Employees of the Month that I want to recognize. For the Pass It Forward Award, Orlando Trujillo from Facilities and Operations was nominated by Chef Milton Villarrubia from the East Wing Eatery. Very well deserved, so congratulations to Orlando. And then for the WowGram, Barbara Sandoval from the cashier's office was nominated by Angelique Gutierrez, also from the cashier's office. So congratulations to Barbara Sandoval too. Both of those employees work very hard for the college every day, and we appreciate their work. A few things that I just want to mention in my report. First of all, I think there's a lot of time and a lot of cross-departmental effort being done right now and working on the budget. So we'll be looking at the budget requests and figuring out what we're going to be proposing for next year. As you all know, we've started having that dialogue with the board in terms of having a training, and then the next meeting it'll just be sort of a steady ramping up until we're ready to bring the final budget to you at our regular meeting in April, so that we can have that submitted to the state on May 1st. We also are hoping that by April we will be able to announce the vendor that we'll be hiring for our salary study. Just to let you know, those proposals are being reviewed. That still is, though, what's considered a quiet or confidential period, so I'm always afraid that I'm accidentally going to say a word that is going to get us into trouble. But the committee is working on that, and then they'll make a recommendation, and then our procurement officer, John Apodaca, will take it from there, and then we'll bring that information back to you. But they say by April, so I'm going to hold everyone to that. On Tuesday, we had a kickoff in the campus center for the student information system portion of Workday. I thought we had a really nice turnout, and I want to thank all of the people who participated, who brought refreshments, and I apologize for not being able to stay very long, but there was a really nice video that was, I think, Chess and Campus Works and Workday produced together to let everyone know kind of what the project will entail. And I just want to say, again, I made the SIS piece of Workday the focal point of my campus update that I did. I believe that was last week. So don't hold me to those dates because they just kind of all run together many times. Because this is such a big thing. You know, it's the implementation for the student system is by far more complicated than what we did for the ERP. So it's going to take longer. It's going to take a lot more involvement from a lot more people. You know, the first part, working on finance and HR and payroll, pretty much just involved those departments, which is still a lot of people and very complicated. But when you talk about the student system, now we're talking about all of our student data, all of our student processes, and then that gets into academic processes. There is an academic policy committee that I think has just kind of started to meet, but will be meeting a lot during the next 4 years as they not get everybody exactly on the same page with all 5 schools that are participating in SIS, but to at least be aware and lay out the similarities and differences and look at and very thoughtfully have conversations about where we should align and where we probably can't align. And that, I will say too, in case you're worried about the idea of us even having those conversations, Workday is really helpful in all of this. So they're really good at advising us, like, there's no way you all can do that, so quit talking about it and move on to this would probably be something that everybody could benefit from, and then they'll help us with that piece. So, we're also still working on the Lumens conversion to integrate with Workday, and that's with our CE and contract training module, and that we're doing that in conjunction with San Juan College, and that will be that is not nearly as complex, partially because we already have Lumens, and so that'll be done. And so I think everything is going really well, but it's going to be a long 4 years to get to that point, and so we'll have to have lots of cupcakes and things like that along the way so that we can help motivate each other to, like, just hang on, we're getting there. And then sometimes my strategy is sort of like marathon training, where you like count down your weeks or your months or something like that, whatever works, that you kind of have to trick yourself. And then also, I just kind of wanted to throw this out here as a little bit of a teaser, but I'm pretty sure that next month when I do a campus report, don't know the day of that yet, I started having conversations with our library team about AI, generative AI, and how we're using it, how we should be using it, what's happening. The college belongs to a group called AFIT, which it's the Association for Innovation and something, and it's a smallish community college group. There's probably about 30 colleges that belong to that group, and their topic for their summer conference this year is all on AI. So they're not letting us kind of sit there and think, AI, do we like this or not? It doesn't really matter. We have to figure out how to use it. Also, I wanted to let you know we are applying, we submitted our application for the second round of the Apple CEI funding. They have encouraged and requested us to ask for more funding than we got for the last go around. And so, we're looking at doing that. Really, when I've heard a report out of how many students we have interacted with the first round of the grant, I was really surprised. I mean, I knew we were making an impact, but it's more than I thought. There's been a lot of engagement, especially of high school students, and so, those are students that hopefully will be our students in the next year or so. And in the next round of the grant, we are looking to have more training specifically for community college students. And then, of course, there's always lots of cool equipment that comes with that grant, because it's Apple. On Friday, I met with the League of Women Voters as part of their Lunch with Leaders series. I was invited by Marcy Litzenberg, who is our liaison with the League and has been attending all of our meetings. And we had a great conversation, a really nice group of people, and we talked about all kinds of different all things with the college, everything from the locker rooms, Terry, to where the college is going. So, a great conversation. I look forward to having more conversations and having Marcy here at our meetings. And lastly, I just want to announce that Todd Lovato and I have been able to secure Dr. Amy Lloyd as our commencement speaker. And Amy is the Assistant Secretary at the United States Department of Education. She is from Santa Fe and was a Santa Fe Community College student. And so she was on campus, it's been a couple of months ago, for one of the student parent events, and is just a huge supporter of Santa Fe Community College, a very vibrant speaker, and a huge advocate for the college and for community colleges in general. So she will be our commencement speaker in May, and I'm really, really glad that worked out. And thank you, Todd, for staying with that and helping us get that taken care of. And with that, I think everybody knows that spring break is next week. There are moments of the day where I think that is uppermost in everyone's mind because you could sort of feel like you're just hanging on at this point until you can get a little break. But with that, I'm happy to answer any questions if I can, or any questions about the detailed report that Laura submits on my behalf.
Oh, thank you. Any questions? Member Gurman, Member Wilson?
I just want to say from the president report, I keep hearing about this awning that's 95% completed, and I'm like, can we have like a ribbon cutting ceremony once it's 100% completed? With some cupcakes.
That's been an ongoing thing. Maybe we'll get the Chamber of Commerce to come out here and do a ribbon cutting for the awning, because it's one of those things that had to be reauthorized, and so it's taken a long time, and then difficulty with getting the materials and the work done, and so things that you would think would not take that long end up being tremendously difficult to get done. Dobby's not here right now, but
So I feel like we gotta go admire it at some point once it's done.
well, before you came, it was the dust collection system in the woodworking lab. So.
Yes, that one went on forever.
Yes, it did.
Member Wilson, any questions? Okay. Okay, well, thank you very much, and I'm excited about the commencement speaker.
Should be great.
So great. All righty. Okay, we're to board reports, discussion, and other business. I don't really have any. I kind of would echo what you said. I almost feel like we're standing between you and spring break, even though I know spring break is a couple more days away. But I can feel it in the room.
Can feel it.
It is palpable. So, do you have something you'd like to add?
Yeah, as part of what I'm interested, one of the things that I'm looking into is whether there could be better transportation through public transportation, not only to this campus, but I think given the dual credit offerings, there should be an educational route that visits all of the colleges and all of the high schools are participating, and I think that's a possibility. I've begun talking to members of the local school board about that. And in relation to some of the presentations that were made at our last board meeting, I'm also looking at that with an idea. I know that how can we, whether or not we can fully pay as much as it really costs for faculty to live comfortably in Santa Fe is something that may be in question, even with our best of intents. But I'm looking at there are still, I think, 2 or 3 subdivisions of Rancho Viejo undeveloped, and looking into whether there may be opportunities for there to be an educational subdivision within Rancho Viejo. So I'm going to be talking with Warren about that, talking with other city leaders, and see if there isn't some possibility that on the other side we can begin to look at opportunities to keep the cost down for people working in the education sector. Of course, a lot of the people in county commission I talked to are like, well, and police and firefighters, and which of course is true, but I'm going to focus on education for my part.
Thank you.
All right, yeah.
I'd like to echo Zuby, Member Wilson's, concern. I've talked to a city councilor about this, because I've found out that the city of Santa Fe buses don't come to Santa Fe Community College anymore. So we've got a transportation issue and a housing issue that's affecting our students and access, really.
So hopefully we could figure something out with the city and with the county. I heard from Santa Fe Public School, I mean, the city councilor I spoke with said, we just don't have enough bus drivers. That's why they're cutting down on routes. But I think like, even if there's one student taking the bus, the bus needs to come to the community college. But I was talking to, I also heard from the Santa Fe Public School board members that they're now doing the bus driver test in Spanish, so that way they're able to get more drivers. So that's how they're working on that. So that's just something I'm trying to discuss, with other elected officers about how can we solve the transportation problem to the community college. One request I have is that I really do not know the hours of operation for the East Wing Eatery and the little cafe that's in the campus center and the campus center food services. And it'd be great if it's posted somewhere, or someone sends us an email or sends the whole staff and student an email, just because, I could plan ahead then know, like I can come to campus, meet somebody and eat, and know that I'm able to get a lunch. But not knowing the uncertainty, not knowing that if I come to campus, there will be food or not. I would like some kind of public posting somewhere that on the website or by email, to just so we know that the East, especially the East Wing Bakery, the East, what do you call it? East Wing Eatery is open. And the food services, because, as far as I know, it was all just for the master's program and so on, so that's just the request I have. Kind of like when I want to go to a restaurant, I just go on the website, see if they're open or not before I make the trip.
Yeah, I've seen the hours, but I've never come out here to eat, so I don't really know. Is there a way or a place, maybe?
There could. I will tell you, though, that the East Wing Eatery is largely student-run, and so there are days when they don't open at the last minute because people aren't there, and we have no other way to work around that. But there are Genuine Foods does have regular hours. I think they're open from 11 to 2. Is that right? And they're open from 11 to 2 every day. And yes, they do feed the master's program, but they're open during that time, and so you can still, that they have a sort of a separate. I don't want to say just, they have a separate format for taking care of them, and it can look like the focus is on them when it's their time to eat because there's so many of them. They all come in at once, but they're certainly open at at other times. But I don't know, Todd, if you know.
Touch the bottom. Bottom of the mic.
Bottom.
It's on the bottom.
We've been fairly proactive in reaching out for that information. And so it is a bit of it just takes pretty clear communication, which can be challenging with, student turnover and kind of varying levels of staffing and things like that. But we definitely try our best to keep these updated. We've also reached out to Genuine Foods for regular updates to kind of get that into more of a consistent presence, and they're working through some things, but they have told us that they are working to provide us that information.
I think that would help bring more public to the campus too. If they know they can have coffee or can eat something and have a meeting. So, yeah, cool.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lovato. All right. Next section is public comments. Do we have any public comments?
We have one public comment from Lenny Gantz.
All right.
Hello. Chair Pugh, President Rowley, Member Wilson, and Member Gurman. Good afternoon, and I certainly don't want to stand in the way of spring break either.
The pressure.
Just for the record, I'm Dr. Lenny Ganis, full-time professor of biology and president of the Faculty Union, SFCC, AFT, AAUP, and I'm here representing the Faculty Union today. And what I'm here today to speak about is to request that the Faculty Union have a regular report to the governing board. A regular report would keep the lines of communication open between the governing board that oversees the college and the full-time faculty that the union represents, to be able to give you updates on faculty management relations. The governing board, the college, and the union have a shared interest in having an equitable collective bargaining agreement and the fair administration of its contents. And I'd like to bring an item to this body's attention. About a month ago, the union won an arbitration ruling against the college in the grievance, in a grievance. The union argued that union work has always counted as part of faculty work, and the college unilaterally changed this working condition in fall 2022 by denying to consider any union-related work as faculty work. The arbitrator agreed with the union's case and issued a legally binding ruling in the union's favor. The union has concerns about the college's response to the decision because the college has so far not shown that they will implement the legally binding arbitration award. We, the union, remain hopeful that the administration will implement the award in full, but we will return to the arbitrator if the administration does not implement that ruling. I really think that the governing board should be aware of what's happening in labor management relations at SFCC. You heard last month from more than 9 faculty who are passionate about serving the students and the community at SFCC. The fair administration of the CBA allows for faculty to focus on their passions, inspiring students. Keeping regular communication between the union and the governing board will reduce miscommunications in the future and hopefully avoid more grievances. Please consider putting a regular spot on the agenda for SFCC, AFT, AAUP to report to the governing board. I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right. Any questions? Thank you.
Our legal advice is we should not be responding to questions from the public because it's not advertised on the agenda.
Okay.
However,
I'm happy if anyone wants to reach out to me at some time and talk about this.
and if at some point in the future we wanted to put this matter on the agenda, we could talk about it then.
All right, thank you. Have a
Thank
great
you.
spring break.
Thank you for your comment. All right. Anyone else, Audrey?
No.
All right. That takes us to the last part of the meeting, just the announcement of the next board meetings. We have a governing board policy training on April 10th at 1:30. We also have a work session on April 10th starting at 3. The governing board budget meeting will be April 22nd at 1 p.m. And then we'll have a governing board meeting on April 24th at 3 p.m. So we're going to see each other a lot in April. All right. And that brings us to adjourning. Before we get a motion to adjourn, I'd just like to tell everyone to have a happy spring break. Enjoy your time off. It's well deserved. And we'll see you when you all get back. So do I have a motion to adjourn? Are we here then? Or we're staying? We can't hear you, Lena.
I'll make a motion, okay.
All right, a second?
Much as I want to stay between you and spring break, I will second the motion.
All right, all in favor? Aye. All right, have a good spring break.
Thank you.
Which is this?